of Black Film Challenge. My name is Kat Street. I'm a filmmaker based out of LA, writer, producer, former cinematographer.
I am Carletta.
Never leave you. Sorry.
It's okay. Carletta here. What am I? Producer, sometimes director out of Washington D.C. by way of Georgia, because we flip over at Georgia. Go Blue.
Woo! Go Blue.
And we have two special guests today with us, and I will let I guess Veronica go first, and then Landis.
All right. My name is Veronica, and I'm a LA-based DP, and I'm currently finishing up my degree at AFI for cinematography.
Nice. Awesome.
Cool. I'm Landis. I am also a LA-based DP. Been in the business since 2002. Been in LA since 2003, and done a little bit of everything: reality, doc, industrial, you name it. I've probably been there. So,
welcome, guys. I was thinking it would be good to have two DPs or directors of photography or cinematographers for the lay to join us for this week, since there were a couple of challenges this week that were a bit difficult for people, that involves finding, films by Black filmmakers that also had Black cinematographers. So I thought it would be good to have two cinematographers come here so that you get to know two extra ones, and also so we could just discuss the whole process. So yeah, this week was cool. It was cool to see everyone's findings, because for some reason, I don't know why, I thought a lot of people would choose a Spike Lee joint for the first one. I was pleasantly surprised, and of course, I'm like, well, why did I think that? People would.
If you think about, it's like, okay, Spike, he's been doing it for a long time. He's always pushing the message of Black power. So I think it was just, I thought so too. But I also realized, I think some people want to stretch themselves because we're at home a lot right now, Last time to do some research. So
yeah,
I purposely avoided Spike for my first one, and even though mine didn't quite meet the criteria, as Kat politely pointed out, I thought my pick was Deep Cover by Bill Duke, and it's I remember seeing it in film school, and he actually showed up to talk about the film. And it was like, whoa, like I've seen this guy in so many movies and didn't realize he was a director. And he purposely put in elements of poetry in that film just to make it more of his style. So I remember that, and I've encountered him a few times out here in LA. So it's like, he's still around and doing his thing. So
nice. Yeah, I felt like the reason why I wanted to say it was a writer director is not only, I think the more I thought about it, and when I was watching, films of my own, to stay with the challenge and everything, it was to get people, I wanted people to discover different voices. And when you're a writer director, I feel like you have a specific point of view that you want to share. And while that might apply for people who are solely directors or solely writers, I thought it would be interesting to look at movies by writer directors to see what is it that was burning inside of them that they needed to share. So that was why I wanted the combo.
I think also, to your point, most people who write, or write or direct, vice versa, want to have the control, and they do both. Like, I know a lot of writers say, I began directing because I wanted my work done. I just wasn't seeing what I wanted to see on film, or I couldn't get anybody to do my project for me. So I said, I just do it myself. And that kind of morphs into that. Then I also think on the other side, directors who do other people's works for a long period of time get frustrated about the voice and then decide to write. So it's definitely a category where you find passions and interests and see kind of what people are really thinking about. So I liked it.
Yeah, that's a good challenge.
I liked it.
It's like every category this week has been like, oh, like I had not really thought that hard about that. Like right before we started, you mentioned like, I don't know if I'm jumping too far ahead in days, was like the women cinematographer and the women director. Like it was like, whoa, like that's
Sucks.
There's not that many of that had like high notoriety anyway. You know, like I found for my list, I found 13th with Ava DuVernay and
Kelly.
Yeah, and it's like there should be more than that. And just for reference, like there was a meeting of like Black cinematographers at Moviola maybe like 10 years ago. And I went to it and I met Johnny Simmons, who's a very cool dude, and some other filmmakers. There was one Black lady cinematographer who teaches at USC or UCLA. I see her every once in a while, like before these COVID times. I saw her every once in a while at different expos and stuff. And it's like, why haven't I seen more of her? Now, to be fair, I've encountered other Black women who are camera operators, definitely. But like, I've never been on a set with a Black DP woman, like never. You know, and it's.
Oh, you haven't been on my set. I'm sorry.
No, I have not been on your set. No, I have not.
Haven't been on Veronica's set.
But even to say that, you know, I just finished a documentary, and I really wanted a Black DP, a Black female DP, because it's a doc about girls, and I just couldn't find one. Like I was looking, and plus I'm in DC, so a little different. But a lot of white men were very open to doing the project. I will say that. So I got a girl, a woman, but she's an African American, but she's awesome. So
yeah. I recently joined this like group organization called Sporos. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's definitely introduced me to more female cinematographers and like female gaffers and key grips, and it's really nice to know that there are other people, maybe not right in LA, but all over the country trying to still pursue cinematography.
What's it called again? What's the group called?
Sporos. I can send the link. But they're like what they do is they take up and coming cinematographers and directors, and they try to like bring them together and try to find some like commonalities and kind of, oh, you know what, I'm looking for a camera package, or I have an idea of like a lighting setup. Do you have any tips and so forth? And it's kind of this community that to help one another, which is really lovely.
The SOC, the Society of Camera Operators, has also an inclusion and diversity thing they're opening up now too. They just had a meeting yesterday, and they were talking about like stuff they're planning. And I joined the SOC because of I knew somebody who was already in it. So, and they're trying to shake it up and change it up. You know, so it's just a matter of talking to people and finding out and sharing. Like if I can find a link or something, I'll send it along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just been, you know, coming from where I came from, like from film school. I mean, Landis and I went to film school together, and I studied cinematography, and it was me and the one who came before me was Tiffany. We're like best friends. And it was like between those two Black women, not just Black women, but I think, I don't even want to say like the only women of color as well. But, you know, I feel like I don't even know if there were any like women of color before Tiffany. Do you know, Landis?
DPs, no. There was in my class, there was one, I think she was like Indian, like Southeast Asia Indian. She was really dark. People thought she was Black, but she would constantly tell you she's not Black, she's Indian. She was a writer, but I was the only I was in the directing program, but there were no Black DPs in my class.
Mm.
And the other Black guy in my class was also my roommate, and he was a producing major. So but before, when I got there were hardly any as well. There were a handful. So yeah, that it was North Carolina, and the school was pretty much unknown still when we were there. I don't know if it's more popular now, but it was predominantly white, definitely.
It's like the top 5. It's in the top 5 now, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that, like, if you go back to even just on the educational level, like, nurturing that and fostering that there, because I'd be like, that was even lacking at that time, or there wasn't that. It's
definitely like a boys' club, and even for like some professional sets, it's like, sometimes I'm the only brother in the room, but it's like even more so just for gender. It's like there are hardly any women on the set, and that has changed over the years, definitely. And I think mostly because people who do get in those power positions start bringing those other people up with them, so it's definitely about who you know and who you're comfortable working with. Absolutely. So it's just trying to break into those other circles, where they're welcoming that, because some places are still not welcoming that, unfortunately.
I started my career as a camera assistant and just like working on big TV shows and so forth. And I actually got a ton of support, and it was nice to be around other women and so forth. And, maybe I can't lift this, and it's okay. Like, I don't mind getting help and so forth. And I think it's more about kind of finding your community to grow with and so forth that makes those shows not feel as big,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, how was it like for you, Veronica? Like, I guess first starting out, like when you were finding like, okay, I want to do this. I think the support eventually comes, but like, how did you process that internally? Like when you were like, okay, this is something that I want to do, knowing what the landscape was at the time.
I think it's kind of ever changing. I think when I was an undergrad, like, I had the idea that I wanted to shoot, but I knew I wanted to get better technically. And I decided to kind of keep crewing and so forth. And it's kind of just finding people that are open to collaborating and open to helping you learn and so forth. And I think it's also an internal thing of knowing, like, I don't know everything, and I'm open to learning. So I think with balancing both of those, it makes growing in this industry possible.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all about it takes a village, as they say.
Yeah.
It always
does. It really does. Like, I think every job 95% of the jobs I got is because like somebody liked me and wanted to bring me on to the next thing. And every time I moved up from position is because they're like, oh, we know you're interested in doing this. We're going to take a chance that you're not going to mess up and do it. And I've been grateful every time. If I had been able to help somebody, I try to bring them in too. Yeah. It definitely
I think it's definitely like a circle of like, someone helps you and then you kind of want to help the next person and so forth. And I always thought a big thing was kind of reminding people what I wanted to do. Like, I may be assisting now, but I'm looking around and I do want to move up to operate and I want to shoot and so forth. And I think it's about finding that balance of like, I'm doing my job, but I want to learn the next job as well.
Yeah. So when it came to the particular challenges that were like, find, a film with a Black male DP, for instance, like what movies could you think of off the top of your head that were like, oh yeah, this fits that category, that,
Well, I can tell you right away, I went to Ernest Dickerson because he worked with Spike Lee. And I remember in film school, somebody showed us a still from Jungle Fever, and it was like Spike Lee and the woman he was having an affair with sitting on the bed, and the lighting was like set up in such a way where they were both silhouetted, but she was silhouetted in darkness, and Wesley Snipes was silhouetted in light, and they were on either side of the frame. It was just like, it was so deep. It just blew my mind at the time. I was like, what's this guy's name? Ernest Dickerson? Okay. And now he's a director too. So I was like, okay, so it's possible for me to do that as well. And I don't know if he goes back and forth, but he was going back and forth for a while. I'm like, I want to do that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I have to check his credits. I feel like he's gotten more into directing.
I think he is.
He's more of a director now.
Yeah.
I feel like after Juice, he kind of just went into directing, and it's funny, like, especially just in COVID, just being stuck at home, I like was rewatching The Wire, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot he directed a lot of these episodes, and like he directed The Walking Dead, and it's you can see that relationship he has of like visual yet directing ability that's superb.
So within the spirit of Black History Month, as far as Black female DPs, whether or not they are notable, or, you know, doesn't matter if they're notable, but could you just shout out like a couple that you might know? Huh?
Kira Kelly. I worked with her as an assistant and so forth, and it's really nice to see how much she's grown and taken chances and get opportunities and so forth. And it's funny, like I'll run into her over the years and like, oh, I'm doing this thing, and she's like, I'm doing this, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep chasing you one day, and so I think seeing her succeed just kind of lightens my spirit, like this is possible.
Yeah, I saw that blurb, or not blurb, but like press release last year that was like, she's been inducted to the ASC. I was like, well, this is the first Black woman in the ASC.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Pretty cool. So
it's amazing. It's like, why did that take so long?
You know, like over 100 years or whatever. Yeah.
But it's like, well, how many have there been though? You know, and this idea of, even in my own thinking, I know of people I work with, but they haven't done a feature, one, or two, they're still trying to get into it. Like they're still a camera assistant, maybe they want to be, you know, so it's like this idea of how many were before her. There are several after her we know of, you know, who are still building up their resume. So the idea becomes, she was the first. It's like, you know, Auntie Cammie says, VP. She's the first, but not the last, you know.
Right. First, but not the last, for sure. Amen. Yeah, the people that I follow via Twitter, like Sade Naida, I want to say her last name is.
Yeah, I know her. We did her like music video.
Oh, nice.
And Ayende Anderson, he shot it, and then we came to operate. And yeah, no, it's like I knew her from like Instagram and so forth, and we just got along really well. And it's really nice to see how much like she's grown as like a person and as a filmmaker. And it's interesting because I came up very technically, and she's more just like spirited, and I'm like, oh, technically you should probably like mount it like this, but it's okay. But like I know like where your mind is, and it's like, that's cool.
You gotta feel the light, man.
Well, like, cool.
Yeah, Allende, actually, he's an alumni of our school too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he went to AFI. He's like a few years above me, and he's a person that I'll like call randomly, like, I need a DIT, or like, I need a colorist, help me, and so forth. And it's nice to know that there are other cinematographers you can just kind of call, and they can be totally honest with you and like give you really good advice. So he's doing really well.
Get a support group.
Yeah.
A support group. And then I was going to mention Crystal Kelly, who I've been trying to work with for the longest time, but I've just worked with her as like, she was a was she an AC on that thing that we did, Landis? Or camera operator, or that PSA from like when we first ran into each other?
Oh my God. Maybe, because the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I've been trying to I recommend her all the time just because I'm like, I want to see her do things. So here you go. But yeah, so, but yeah, off the top of my head, those are the people that come to mind. But there are so many. Like I was thinking, going back to the whole, features world, and that's the problem. Well, that's the issue with this challenge, is that I'm asking for feature-length films. If I were to say, oh yeah, you can find shorts, then yes, it would be a little easier for you to find,
maybe that's next year.
Black female cinematographers who work with Black writer directors. For sure. It's just like, who's gotten into that feature world? And these Black DPs that are out there have also done a lot of TV. So that goes without saying, that they're there. They're there.
A lot of people coming up, a lot more than you used to be. So it's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to switch it over to what is coming up for next week, so everybody gets excited for that. Like today we're doing dramas by Black filmmakers, and let me get my calendar. Do you have it up, Carla?
I do. So next week we have up on Slate, cheat a little bit, we have dramas today, Black cinematographer and Black editor is
it should be a Black writer director and a Black editor. So
8th for Monday.
Yes, right, that's what it says. I made this thing, I should know this, but
no, hold on. I can't, I'm blind, so hold on. It says
Black
director and Black editor is Monday, and then sci-fi fantasy is Tuesday, horror is Wednesday,
my favorite,
futurism is Thursday, experimental is Friday, and then Black writer director and Black costume designer is Saturday. So the week ends with another tough one. So
yeah, and so as I will stress again, the writer director has to be one person. They could be they could be a co-writer or a co-director, but they have to have both of those credits in their thing, because it's important to see what their point of view is. But to find that pairing would be acceptable in order to win these amazing prizes that we have. So
that'll be a tough one. I'm still working on my list.
Yeah, I've been good so far, and with all these, like I mentioned before, like with all these categories, I did make sure they are findable. It is possible to find these things.
There's one out there at least, because Kat found them. Now beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, for the Black female filmmaker cinematographer thing, it was literally 13th and Becoming. Like that's it. It. That's the one I watched, Becoming, that had Nadia Hallgren, who directed it and she shot it. Wow. Yeah, so that would count for that. But yeah, it's just those two feature length that I could find. There is something else. I think there's like maybe one more thing that I could find that was like called Title VII, who the DP was Sybil Martin. I don't know if you know her.
Sybil Martin?
Sybil. Yeah. So she's also got some things. She'll have other things coming up. I looked at her IMDb that will make this category a little less difficult. Yay! So stay tuned for those. But yeah, so prizes. We're looking at the people who participated in the challenge for the first week, who have you don't necessarily have to watch these movies because we understand that you guys are busy, but if you do, that's nice. Anyway, we were looking for people who stuck it out for the full for the first week, every day posted something that fit the criteria properly. And, you know, definitely used, you know, the hashtag Black Film Challenge, posted, you're supposed to post either a GIF or a trailer of the film that you found. You're just supposed to find it, as I mentioned, just supposed to find it, be aware that it exists. You can watch it if you have time. The person who did the most, which I'm very happy about, was Teresa Justina. Woo! I would put my celebration emoji, but I Zoom. So Teresa will be receiving some gifts. Who do we have? We have a pass for yoga classes from, who's that sponsor?
That is Bella Yoga, Tiffany, out of Washington, D.C. It's virtual I think it's Thursdays and Saturdays, but you can pick the day you want to go. It's a month pass, actually. It's a full month, so.
There you go. There you go. Get your sweat on, get yourself a little limber, Teresa. We have some swag courtesy of Black Girl Film School to celebrate, you know, the female filmmakers in the house this week. So that'll just be a hodgepodge of things that you will find, and I'll also put links to these amazing sponsors in the comments once this live chat is over. And then lastly, we're going to give away a movie ticket. It's virtual. Courtesy of San Francisco Black Film Festival. They were generous enough to give away one ticket. You have access to a film for their upcoming film festival. So you'll be able to watch a film by a Black filmmaker. Woo! So those are the three things that Therese will be getting this week. Congratulations. Keep playing. We have more prizes. We have some pretty cool ones as well coming up.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you to our sponsors. Make sure you guys participate. Again, every day is something different. Today is drama. Yeah.
Today is drama. So I posted Beyond the Lights is mine as my pick for the day. Yeah. So good. Yeah. So
I think I posted Rosewood.
Yes, you posted Rosewood with by John Singleton.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yes. And for these, it doesn't have to be a writer director. So unless I specify it, yeah.
Was Love Jones a drama?
What?
Yeah.
Love Jones, a drama, right? That
yeah, it's a drama.
Yeah.
I haven't posted mine yet. I think I'm
But yeah, that's all she wrote. Unless you have anything to add, Croata?
No, I'm excited for our first week. Thank you, Landis and Veronica, for joining us. Added some great flavor to the conversation. And
yeah, thank you guys.
Challenge.
Oh yeah, where can we find you? Where can the people find you on the social medias? And links to your stuff and your reel, and if they need to hire you for something, please do.
Oh yeah, you can. Well, ladies first.
Oh no, you're already going, so you're in it. I'll go second.
You can find my website, landisstokes.com. That's got my reel and some links to my social media as well. It's LandisStokes.com. Yeah.
Cool. You can find me on Instagram, Veronica Bouza, Bouza, or you can just go to my website, veronica.bouza.com.
Your website is veronica.bouza.com?
It's veronicabouza.com. My bad.
Awesome. Well, yes, please check out their work, check out their reels, and give them a shout if you need if you have a film coming up that is COVID friendly.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, please.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Good luck with the challenge.
Yes.
Bye.